Chiching says, I have noticed that Nagaland cuisine or the Far East of India cuisine is similar to Southeast Asian countries, the cuisine of Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, etc., than India's, mainland India's. Why is it so? Right, interesting question. So once again, let's go back to the map. It's called the Northeast of India. Why is the Far East of India called the Northeast of India? Why is it so? When the British invaders first colonized India, the first region they conquered and colonized was Bengal, all right? Bangladesh, Bengal. And from their vantage point in Bengal, the Far East of India was to the northeast of Bengal. And then they wrote research papers or books or whatever, calling these regions the northeastern regions, the northeast. But it was the northeast of Bengal, not the northeast of India. And later on, this nomenclature persisted because India's historians, whose greatest joy in life is to ape the Westerners, they simply carried on calling this region the northeast, even though it's the northeast of Bengal, not the northeast of India as a whole. It's actually the east of India or the far east of India. Anyhow, that's a different thing. That's not what the question is about. The question is about the cuisine of Nagaland and of these other states in the far east of India, like Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, and so on. Even Assam, Mizoram, and so on. So if we look at the cuisine, let's take Nagaland as an example. Nagaland is a wonderful place. It's in the foothills of the Himalayas, very hilly region, very nice climate and all that, very interesting culture, very beautiful local culture, lots of different tribal groups and all that. So if we see the cuisine of this region, it's very distinctive and very different from what we find in what we call the mainland of India. So any cuisine is going to use local ingredients. Now, when you're living in a region like Nagaland, which is hilly, which is a very cool climate usually, which is thickly forested, you're going to use local ingredients, right? So if we look at the far east of India, geographically, it is actually part of Southeast Asia. Geographically speaking, it's kind of part of Southeast Asia, which is Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, all that. And the ingredients that are used in the cuisine, the herbs and all those things, they are the ones you would find locally. And these are the herbs and all those things that are found in Southeast Asia, which is why if you see the cuisine of Nagaland or Manipur or whatever, they use lots of ingredients which are essentially identical to what you would find in a market in, let's say, Vietnam. Very similar ingredients. There's a lot of fish that is eaten, river fish, not sea fish. And when it comes to Nagaland, there is a lot of dependence on eating pork. Pork is one of the main sources of protein. Fish also, like I said, there's a lot of fermented foods that's used. A lot of boiled foods. So the style of cooking is there's a lot of boiling. There's the use of turmeric to some extent. A lot of red chilies are used, or local, what they call the bhut jolokia in Assamese, the ghost chili, extremely spicy, that is used. Fermented bamboo shoots, all of that. So it's because these are the things that grow locally, and also because the people of this region, we don't quite know the origins of the various tribes of Nagaland, of the people of Arunachal Pradesh, of the Meitei people of Manipur, and so on. The languages that are spoken in this region are typically Tibeto-Burman languages. So it shows a cultural and genetic and ethnic affinity with the people of Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, our historians have not done their job, so we don't quite know where the migrations came from. So what was the origin of the various tribes of Nagaland? Did they migrate into this region right now? How long ago did the migration happen? Did it happen from Myanmar, for instance, or from Yunnan, that is temporarily part of China, or some other region? And even our geneticists have not done the job, because there is no real genetic research done into the genetics of the far east of India. So the historians have failed in doing their job, and the geneticists have failed in doing their job. So we don't quite know what is the migratory origin of the various peoples who live in this region. But if you look at the facial features and traditions and all that, it's clear that there is a significant affinity with the people of Southeast Asia. So because of these regions, the cuisine is different. Cuisine is an integral part of culture. So you will find lots of similarities between the cuisine of Nagaland, Manipur, other places, to the cuisine in places like Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, even the Yunnan region of present-day China. The cuisine in Yunnan also is heavily dependent on pork as a protein. There's all in Cambodia, etc., other parts of Southeast Asia, insects are a significant part of the diet. For instance, in Cambodia, people use red ants to add texture and crunch and a little bit of protein to certain meals. That's how it is. I mean, what's wrong with that? There are other insects like silkworms, etc., that are eaten, consumed, and so on. And you find such things in some parts of the far east of India as well. In Nagaland, I'm sure you find some of that. In Assam also, possibly Arunachal, and so on. So it's because of these reasons that the cuisine of the far east of India is significantly different from that of the what we call the so-called mainland part of India. It's much closer to the cuisine and culinary traditions of Southeast Asia and Yunnan, which kind of hints at an ethnic origin of some of the tribes of this region, which may lie in those regions, in maybe Southeast Asia or in Yunnan, possibly, but definitely not Chinese. There is no cultural, ethnic, and culinary affinity between the people of the far east of India and the Han Chinese, none whatsoever. The affinity is between the people of the far east of India and the people of Southeast Asia and possibly of Yunnan. The people who live in Yunnan, native inhabitants of Yunnan, which is currently a part of China, these people are actually Thai people. They are the same ethnicity as the Thai people and the Ahom people, the origins of the Ahom people. Very interesting thing. And unfortunately, our historians have not done their job. These are fascinating questions that people are asking. Chiching always asks very interesting questions. And none of the historians have any answers to this because they have done no research. All they do is teach the same old regurgitated, ancient, tired, beaten history that no one cares about. And these questions are still open questions, and they have not addressed them thus far.